Hello, Put Me in Coaching family. I hope everyone has had a great couple weeks off of class. I hope you've watched some of the replays and you are ready to get back into it live, whether you are watching the replay or you are watching live. Always grateful to have you here tuning in. And we are halfway through the month of October, a little more than halfway through. It's the 19th. And that means just about 10-ish weeks left of 2025. I think I saw somewhere the other day we have about 85 days left, give or take a little bit. But what that means is we have some time to make some serious progress toward our goals, right? And I know I keep saying that each and every week, but as we're thinking about it, think about just the progress you've made in the past towards your goals. Okay, I can distinctively remember when I first started my journey, how after about a week, I had a little bit more energy. And then after about 2 weeks, one of the entire reasons I got started, where I said I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was tired of my feet hurting all the time. I couldn't even wear socks because they hurt so bad. It was like I couldn't wait to take my socks off. After about 2 weeks, that went away, right? And that's never come back. And that's incredibly powerful. That's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of breathing a little bit easier. 2 weeks to just feel a little bit better. So when we look at the fact that we have about 10 weeks left in the year, that's time to make some serious progress. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like you're a lost cause. And I don't want you to say the dreaded, well, I'll just wait till next year, right? Because we have so much time to make so much progress toward our goals. All right. So with that being said, we're going to talk tonight about the law of magnetism. And as I've mentioned, I'm doing a study in a leadership academy right now of John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. And I think a lot of these parallel so well to leading not just an organization, not only leading other people, but leading ourselves, right? And really understanding that, hey, I'm really working on becoming the best version of myself so that I can show up however it is I need to show up in my life. Okay. And so, with that being said, I think it's really important that we understand the law of magnetism. So, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, the law of magnetism really talks about who you are is who and what you attract. We talk about this all the time, right? The law of attraction. This is in our scripting. This is in our affirmations. This is in our mindset work. What we eat, what we think, what we do. And I've seen a lot of this come up over the last couple of weeks. And when I think about the law of magnetism, I think about who is it that I want to be? Who am I when I am the best version of myself? Who am I when I'm showing up how I'm supposed to? And a lot of that, I can feel when I'm a little bit off, right? We all know when maybe we've had an off day or an off week or even an off month or two, right? We all know, and we all say to ourselves, man, I know what to do, but I'm just not doing it. And so I think if we can break it down into the concept of the law of magnetism, I think we can get really clear on who do I need to become to attract the things, the goals, the outcomes that I want to attract. Now, we can't control the outcomes, but we control our efforts toward the outcome, right? So when we are achieving our goals, look at it from the 7-step signature system. We're opting in every single day, right? So that's step one. We're getting the education every single day or at least once a week, right? We get the education. We have the accountability. We have the tracking. We've got our behavior change in place. We're celebrating our wins and we are giving back. That is how we show up as the best versions of ourselves. Now, look at it when maybe you're a little off. Maybe you're not achieving your goals because you're not opting in. And a lot of us, the opt in is the hardest thing. I'm going to tell you, I struggled this morning to get out of my car and go into the gym. I had no problem getting out of bed, getting dressed, getting in the car. I even stopped to get water on the way to the gym. But when I got to the gym, I sent my friend a text message and I said, I'm sitting in the gym parking lot and I just simply don't want to go in. I don't want to. And I don't even know what it was. Right. And she's like, well, you need to go. I said, I'm going to. It's fine. And even while I was on the machine, I was convincing myself, maybe I'll just stop after these next couple of minutes or whatever. But I finished and I did what I was supposed to do. But gosh, that was the hardest opt in that I've had. Right. But I showed up how I wanted to today. And I showed up and did what I needed to do. And so I set myself up for success for the rest of the day. Okay. So when we're talking about the law of magnetism, I want you to think to yourself, okay, the people that have what I want. Okay. I was listening to my YouTube video this morning and I've probably listened to this, and what I do is I study the speakers, right? Because I speak a lot more now. And so I'm studying how they're speaking, the stories they're telling, how they're coming full circle and telling these stories. And so I listen to the same ones or a compilation of the same ones. So I'm hearing these stories over and over, but it's interesting because I always catch something different. And that's why I think it's important that even on here, you go back and you listen because you're always in a different frame of mind, no matter where you're at, right? You're never going to be in the exact same place. So go back and listen to things that you've already listened to because you never know what you're going to take from it. And so this morning, I'm listening to a speaker. He's speaking to a football team. And I could just tell that I've never caught this before, right? But he said, you need to be watching the film because you need to see how the people that are achieving what you want, you need to see how they're playing, how they're showing up. Because he said, if your why was just to make it to the league and buy your mom a car, buy her house, and buy yourself a car, and you've already done that, then what are you doing? Right? You're not showing up for anything specific. And I thought that was really powerful. He said, go back and watch what the people who are achieving what you want, go back and watch what they're doing. And that's what I've been doing a lot these last couple of weeks, months, is really leaning in and listening to where is it that I want to be? Okay. So when you're talking about the law of magnetism, really think about who is it that you want to be? And then think of someone that has those qualities. Okay. What is it that you need to achieve to be who you want to be? Is it that you want to be somebody that plans out their meals and preps their meals ahead of time? Well, start following people who prep their meals, right? Be very strategic about who you follow on social media and what you are consuming on TV or whatever. And like you could look at my Instagram, and my Instagram is very intentional. It's a lot of business, it's a lot of motivation, it's a lot of sports, right? I don't see much politics on there. I don't see negativity. I don't see a lot of just mindless things on there. And I've done that intentionally because I'm trying to study who and what it is that I want to become. So think about the people that you want to surround yourself or the person that you are becoming. What qualities? And maybe think about 5 qualities that the person that you want to become needs to have. in order to get what you're wanting to achieve, right? Because who and what you attract is not determined by what you want, right? It's determined by who you are and your actions. There's that step 5, behavior modification, right? And the only way to change that is to track it and hold yourself accountable to it. Okay, so when you're thinking, what is it that I'm not showing up for exactly right? So, and I'll give some more examples. So, I've really struggled with my deadlift the past probably 2 to 3 years. I've been struggling to find my groove ever since I had surgery, right? So, about 2 years now. And I've been struggling to figure out what is it that I just like. Sometimes 275 pounds is easy. Sometimes it's all I can do to get it off the ground, right? Where am I stuck? And so I started watching people that have what I want, that are lifting more than what I even envision myself lifting. I started watching people that have what I want, and I'm watching how they're doing it. And then I'm videoing myself doing it to figure out what is it that they're doing that I'm not, and how can I incorporate what they're doing into what I need to do. And I'm talking to my coach, and we're watching, and we finally cracked the code, and we figured it out. Right. And so then yesterday, 320 pounds was nothing. I mean, it came up like a warm up, and I was like, holy cow, that hasn't come up that easy. And I couldn't even tell you how long. And so when you think about the law of magnetism, right? So what is it that you are needing to become? What's missing? What is it that you need to add back in that's going to allow you to start attracting the subconscious thoughts that you need to do the actions and have that behavior modification that you really need? Okay. And as you're thinking about that, think about what are the goals that you want to accomplish? Who are you? And I want you to write that. Who are you when you have achieved what it is you want to achieve? And remember, we talk so much about you've got to have a strong why, because if you don't have that strong why, then there's really no motivation to get there, no long-term motivation. Okay. And so when you're thinking about who it is you want to become, why do you want to become that person? Right? Is it because you are wanting to feel better, look better? Is it that you just feel like you'll have more confidence? Is it that you want to show up for your kids a certain way? Right? So really think about what goals are you wanting to achieve? And then why are you wanting to achieve them? Are you just wanting to achieve them because you feel like that's what you've been told your whole life? And so if that's the case, that's probably where you're stuck. Right? And you need to get really honest with yourself. Hey, why do I actually want to change? Because if you're just doing it because, oh, this is what I've been told that I'm supposed to be my whole life, then that doesn't really align. That's not a strong why. You're doing it for someone else at that point because somebody else has told you, the beauty standards or whatever has told you that that's what you need to be. And so when I got out of my own way with that, I started really making progress towards goals of health. Now, weight loss was a byproduct of that, right? But when you really get into it, I tried and failed so much in my 20s. I would do really well for a little while, lose a little bit of weight, and then it was like, man, it would just come, that yo-yo effect, right? But not until I got very clear about why I wanted it, right? Remember, I told you my numbers were not really where I wanted them to be. And it scared me a little bit. And I said, I can't go into my 30s worried about getting diabetes and worried about my health, right? I can't do that. And so it was like I snapped out of it. I didn't care about what I looked like anymore. I cared about how healthy I was. And that's how I've been able to maintain those healthy numbers, even through all the health challenges I've had. Right? I go to the doctor and he says, you're healthy. You can come back in a year. Right? These are the things that someone normally with the conditions that I've had, a lot of times they're worried about it. They're going to the doctor a lot more. And while I went to the doctor a lot more at the beginning, now it's like yearly checkups. I'm good. They're like, yep, see you in a year. Right. And it's because I've kept that mindset. I've kept that, hey, I care about my health. I care about my numbers. Right. And why do I care about my numbers? Because I know that that means I'm healthy and I'm going to be able to show up for the people that I need to show up for. Okay. So when you're thinking about the law of magnetism, okay, where is it that you are really needing to start attracting more? Not necessarily, I'll say higher quality, right? Where are you needing to attract a higher quality? So really think about that when you think about the goals that you're setting for yourself between now and the end of the year, because you can completely change what you're attracting in these next 10 weeks by just simply getting laser focused on what qualities you are needing to attract. Because what's going to happen is when you start watching people that have these things, right? And now we know that what people put out on Instagram and whatever is not always necessarily what they have, right? That's not the picture perfect life. However, you need to be consuming the positive content, right? And so I love my true crime podcast that I listen to, but I have to limit the amount that I listen to that. It's not saying that I don't ever listen, but I certainly don't listen to it before I listen to my motivational stuff in the mornings, right? Because we need to attract what we're putting out there. So we got to be putting out positivity to attract positivity back. All right. So that's what I have for tonight. So that law of magnetism, I want you to get laser focused between now and next week when we're back here next week on who is it that you need to become? How do you need to start showing up in the world to start attracting the results that you want? And I want you to write an outline and I want you to create, even if you have to create an avatar, right? Create what does that person look like? And then I want you to start seeking out content that has that, right? Is it that you want to get better at meal prep? I personally don't, right? I don't want to get better at meal prep. I don't like to cook all that much. And so I do what I do, right? But I want to look at certain things that are the motivational speakers and those types of things. That's what I'm trying to attract right now. Okay, so when you think about that, maybe it is that you need to get better at meal prep. Maybe it's that you need to get better at movement, right? And that you need to start adding in movement and exercise into your daily routine. Well, don't go follow somebody that's doing all these extreme workouts all the time that you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even do that. There's a lady that I follow on Instagram, and she's actually a teacher, and she's a very beginner at CrossFit. And she tells it like it is, right? She's like, hey, I'm just here. I'm showing up because it's just fun, right? And I'm just showing up because I know I need to get a little healthier. I don't really care what that means other than I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my best, right? So, but then I also do follow some extreme athletes because I like doing those extreme challenges. But if that's not you, don't do that, right? So, really get crystal clear about what it is that you are wanting to become. Are you needing to meal prep? Are you needing to eat healthier? Are you needing to work out more? Are you needing to do a little bit more positive self talk? And if that's the case, start following motivational, inspirational speakers on those platforms, right? And cultivate your YouTube. I don't even have to go searching for what I listen to every morning on YouTube because I've listened to it so much it just pops up as a suggestion every morning and I just click on it and that is what it is, right? Because it knows what it is that I'm seeking out. But I've had to cultivate that myself. All right. So really get crystal clear and start cultivating that magnetism. What are you wanting to attract over this next week? And I will see you back here next Sunday and we will dive in a little bit deeper into some more of these laws and some other stuff that's come up. If there's a topic that you would like me to cover, please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to incorporate any of that into these classes as well because I am here for you. Again, I am always so grateful for each and every one of you for tuning in, whether you tune in live or catch the replay. Would not be here without you all. And I am just so grateful that I am at least a little part of your journey. If you are needing to get back into a coaching program, please reach out to me. Otherwise, I will see you here on class or I will see you on the text message if you are already in a program. And until then, I'll see you back here next Sunday. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Sending you all the wishes for all.